Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're brand new here, my name is FiddlinJonny. This is my fiddle channel and magic product review. And before we do any magic product review, we always do a quick fiddle tune. And today I thought I'd do something, to me it's sort of funny, at least in my head, something maybe a little bit different. And I was trying to make these somewhat related to the releases. So anyway, here we go. All right, snippet of You Light Up My Life. You guys all light up my life. I'm so glad and grateful that you're all here and really appreciate it. All right, let's do, what are we gonna be talking about today? We're gonna be reviewing Evoke. Now, I know every reviewer on the planet seems to have already touched Evoke and given their opinion on it. I'm the reviewer who takes these, goes out, performs it, road tests it, before I do a review. So just know what you're getting today. It's been road tested. And some strong thoughts on it, so stick around and we'll get right into it. All right, let's get into Evoke by Craig Petty. And it's released through Murphy's Magic Studios. I have decided I want to break all my typical rules with this release and not go through my typical what's in the box type stuff and what you get and the tutorial. I think I want to start off by saying a couple of things. First of all, I said it in the intro. I know many of you probably have already seen reviews of Evoke because I know so many other reviewers have already reviewed it. I don't look at any of them, so I do not want to be influenced by them. I don't want any sort of groupthink, so I don't know, are they positive or negative reviews? So a little bit of that. I'm a little late to the game because when I purchase products, a lot of times I really do want to road test them and give them some time to sink in a little bit and get the experience to see how does it translate from these tutorials and what you get into real life experience. And I think we all know that they're sort of like hyped up and a little hyper good when we get these releases, that the live performances that they put on there, you know that they're showing just the best live performances that they have. They may have had others not so good. So I really want to see how these play out there. So that's what you're going to get from this review today. Before I go into the review and talk about the effect, I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about Craig Petty, the creator. And again, this is not something I typically go on. A lot of times I don't focus on who is the creator. I care about the effect. And because I know that certain people who release products, people either love them or hate them. And I think Craig probably for some folks falls into that category. Either they love them or they hate them. I'm a fan, unabashedly, and don't apologize for it. But with that said, I think the magic community has to acknowledge that Craig Petty is probably one of those creators right now who is at the pinnacle of his career when it comes to releasing new products and is moving into, I think, the pantheon of many creators that we have admired for years because of their contributions. And I see Craig really has moved into moving into that category that, you know, 10, 20 years from now, people will still be talking about many of the releases that are happening in this period by Craig. And the releases are good. He's putting out solid releases. And I often say that his releases are not sort of groundbreaking when it comes to like, oh my God, this is an incredibly new method that's being employed here. I think what he does best, in my opinion, is he updates and refreshes many methods, routines, and plots that we've known for years, but maybe are not used as much, or they've sort of hit that limit that people think, oh, here's about as much as you can do with that. And Craig does a great, I think, re-examination of those plots and methods and makes them more contemporary. Adds many new ideas that are always great for, I think, both hobbyists and workers, and really advance sort of methods and plots that we've sort of taken for granted for such a long time. So I think that's for me where I see sort of some of his greatest skills at doing. I always end up, not always, but most of the time when I purchase a Craig Petty product, I kick myself because I get angry with myself that I did not think of it. Because a lot of times, like, oh, that seems like it's within reach for me of like coming up with that idea or concept. And as soon as he sort of presents it, you go, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? So, yeah, that's sort of my experience with Craig stuff. So let's talk about Evoke. Evoke is I could talk about the effect. You got so many different things that you can do with these. You can do predictions, you can do drawing duplications, you can do mind reading, you can do muscle reading, cold readings, classic card tricks baked into a pack of cards here. There's almost so much that you can do with this that it's almost ridiculous for me to say, if you'd like to do X, you can use these cards. They are, and I hate sort of sometimes using this terminology, but like people say, this is a tool that's the Swiss Army knife of magic. And it kind of applies here with these cards is that there's so many different things that you can do with these cards that I don't want to even limit that by saying this is what they fall into. And with these cards, he's taken sort of classics of magic in terms of talking about stack work, marking systems, one ahead methods, all stuff that for any magician who's been around for a while, we all use. And yet he's wrapped them up beautifully in this product here with such a strong emotional experience for your participant, as long as that's what you're working to create. So it is kind of endless. I would have to say, like I'll talk a little bit about what do you get? You get 8 hours or over 8 hours of tutorial. Yes, I took an entire day to go through all of these tutorials just for you. And some of it was a little bit like, oh, I'm tired of watching this. I'm dragging. And then there's other parts like, oh my God, this is awesome. I love this. So I say all that for two reasons. Is that Craig Petty gives great value for every release that I've purchased from him, at least, in that you will never get a shortage of ideas and routines. And not just puff pieces, stuff that's really good and solid. And you get over 8 hours of that in this release. But it's also a way to say that some things you may like and some things you may not. And to me, that's great because I was watching one of the sections where like, oh, this is just not for me. It's boring. But I'm cognizant enough to know that like, oh, there'll be people who love this section because it's right in their alley. So maybe number 6 tutorial wasn't for me, but number 7 is, that'll make sense if you purchased it. So, yeah, so I want to say that. I think the other thing is that, and this will be hubris on my part, is that I watched the very first tutorial of the first hour, first 50 minutes, I think, of the tutorial. And the truth is, for me, I felt like I don't need to watch any of these other tutorials. I get what these cards do. And I would say you should really see them kind of more as a tool rather than you're purchasing a routine, even though you are, or routines. They're a tool. And I got that initial 50 or so minutes and felt like, oh my God, there's so much I could do with these cards. Felt like I can go out on my own now and create my own routines. And my biases, I kind of hope that's what everyone does in some ways, is that if you purchase this, that just come up with your own routines, come up with your own ideas, because then it's just going to be more personal to you. It'll be your script that resonates better with your participant. And so much is from a fundamental, so easy yet powerful what you can do in presentation. And I would just encourage everyone, just go out there and create your own routines, your own sort of plots. With that said, it also says that within that first hour, it's so easy to understand how this. Well, let's just talk about the marking system. I did not watch. I knew that they were marked. I wanted to see if I could figure out the marking system. And I did see, I think in a post, sort of like the alphabet that's used or the marking system on it. So before watching the tutorial, I just tried to see if I could understand the readings. I kind of got it. I hate to say it, but like, don't hate to say it, but I was able to get it right away without doing the tutorial. With some stuff, like I'm not sure what this marking is. After I watched the tutorial, of course, it was so easy peasy. And that once you have the marking system and understand the multiple markings that are on the backs of each card, again, it's endless. Create away, go nuts. So, but if you're not that type of person, you'll have 7 more hours of, or 7+ hours of tutorial with just lots of thinking, approaches, effects, plots to address that you will be overwhelmed with the amount of information that's on there. So, and that's a good thing, that type of being overwhelmed. So anyway, I think one, Craig Petty has moved into this level of a creator that I think, when we think about folks like Jay Sankey, Paul Harris, so many others, John Carney, you need folks that we all just love, and their stuff has been around for a long time and last the test of time. David Regal stuff. Craig Petty has clearly moved into that category with just solid releases. All right. So I'll tell you a little bit about the cards. So obviously they come in this box, but the cards, I'm just going to assume that most folks already know what Evoke is that it's a set of sort of motivational or inspirational motivation cards is what they are. They are the classic sort of posters that we've all seen on the walls over the years with usually, positive sort of stuff like, here's the confidence card or the confident card in focus. And that, sort of has a picture, a strong word, and then a quote to go with it, along with the back of the card. And if you can know the reading or figure out the reading, boom, there you are. So that's what you're getting. You're getting 28 cards total. Sorry, it took me a second to rethink how many cards you get. 28 cards total. They're all different cards. Two, I would say, are gimmick cards, especially printed. They feel really good. They feel like sort of regular playing cards in terms of how they feel, touch, handle. Really nice. And I think the packaging that they come in are the sort of thing that no one will suspect that it's a, trick built into it. For me, I think a lot of times I'll say like, oh yeah, I was at one of those Office Depot shops and they were giving these out for free because they want you to buy the big posters. But this is sort of like one of their promo packs that they were giving out, and I grabbed it just for the fun of it. And then from there, sort of build the routine. So some of the things about the cards is that you'll know exactly what the card is that your person has chosen. You'll know if you're using the stack, you'll know what the card is right before that card. You'll know the word that's on the card. If you wanted to do a thought of word reveal, you'll know if the emotion is positive or negative, whether it's a black and white image or a color image. You're using the stupid principle. You know who the quote is from on the chosen card, so there's a quote on there. And using this principle that Craig goes through, you'll know who created the quote. You'll also know the initials of every single person that's quoted on the back of the cards. And you'll also know the image on the card. So the back of the cards have just a ton of information on them that sort of provides this endless ideas and things that you can do with it. All right. Normally now I would talk about all the routines that you can learn and stuff. I'm just not going to waste your time here. The truth is, this is a great release. And I think it's great for most magicians and mentalists. I almost think I should talk about who is this not for? Because my gut on this one is, with so many of these releases or reviews that I do, I go out and I'm performing professionally doing magic, right? And most of the stuff I review does not end up being in my repertoire long term. It might be there short term. There's a handful of products every single year that sort of go into, all right, these are part of my ongoing working repertoire. And but there's only a handful of those over the course of the year. I feel extremely confident that this is something that will stay in my rotation for years. Yeah, I don't anticipate this is going to be something that, for the next 3 to 6 months, I really enjoy it, perform it a lot, and then it goes into more of my discard or forgotten effects drawer. I think I'm going to be doing this for years and will be picking up additional sets because I know I'll wear these out over time. And despite my best efforts to keep them nice, they will wear out eventually. So I will probably be purchasing multiple of it so that I have it for a long time in case it ever goes out of print. That's how much I like it. I do think like if you're a mentalist, boy, this is really good. And maybe I should go to the core of why I think this is so good. The reason I think it's good is because it does an awesome job in making the experience for your participant way more meaningful. A lot of times we perform tricks, card tricks, like pick a card and then you find the card. And it's like, well, that's boring as all heck, right? And you may have this big routine in terms of how you get there and it's engaging along the way. But there's something about using emotions that they're picking that one, it doesn't feel like a card trick and allows you to perform mentalism that feels extremely personal and feels like true magic. So for that reason, I think it's excellent. And if you like performing engaging, very personal magic, I think this is a home run for you. Who would not like this? I don't know. I don't know who wouldn't like this. I guess if you're straight up card magician or if you're straight up coin magician, this is not for you. You're not going to like this. Maybe you're somebody who doesn't like to deal with people's emotions or a performer who just like say, look at this amazing thing that I can do. Then these cards are probably not for you. So I will add one other thing, and this is my experience, because I review so many products, I have so many products that um, I know that some people purchase lots of products, and now I'm going to give you unsolicited advice here. A lot of people will purchase products and then never really go out and perform them. And they might purchase some good things, but maybe they purchase something like it just doesn't really fit them, but they were curious about the method and wanted to own it. But then, within a week it's in a drawer and it's never pulled out again, or maybe once every couple of years. Um, I really do believe if you're coming for reviews, be really picky about the products that you purchase. I feel like this one is such a great release that I don't want to say just get it because you're going to have it. But if you get it, really, really spend the time practicing and performing with it because I guarantee you, you're going to get a lot of mileage out of this release. But you do need to put in the time. And let me be very humble here. So, as I stated earlier, I watched the tutorial or the very first hour, and I immediately went, I don't need that. The rest of these 7.5 more hours of tutorial, I'm ready to go out and perform. So I did watch more of them, went out and performed, and I was too cocky. And initially, using a stack method, I was using that, and I just got rushed a little bit and card was out of stack, and the card that they had picked that I was going for was not their card. It was a total miss. And there's a couple things that come out of that. It's just like, oh, I really just need to not be so cocky. And they're like, oh yeah, I could do this. This is easy. It was just a simple mishandling of the stack, and I missed, missed that I didn't have it in perfect stack order. And it's always the great example of like, if you mess up, make sure you have an out. Now, I did not have an out, but I've been performing long enough that or planned or prepared out, but because of it, of course, I was able to recover. I didn't feel great about. I was able to recover, and just as I ended up basically doing a little fishing and was able to guess like, okay, I know exactly which card they now have. So I was able to do the reveal and nailed it that way. But it was a little bit touch and go there for a while. So anyway, I guess that's a long-winded way to say, make sure you take the time to practice. Despite that, in my humble opinion, the cards are so beautifully done, so easy to read, and you get so much mileage out of them. Take the time to practice. Take the time to actually go through all of the routines on there too. Um, if you watch other reviewers, I'm sure they're going to talk about who are the guests on here. Peter Turner was amazing, blew my mind. One of my favorite parts was watching Craig truly have his mind blown by Peter Turner and the stuff he was doing on there. The cold reading in here was awesome stuff. I love to do cold reading and still found like little nuggets along the way that I thought was really, really great. So, um, yeah, the takeaway here is maybe my favorite release so far this year. A release that I believe will go now into my permanent, long-term working case because I'm going to use this. I think Craig has moved into a higher pantheon of creators that we admire over the years, and Craig has moved in this place with so many releases that are good releases that will stand the test of time. And this, I think, is one of the best that I've seen from his. I don't have everything Craig's ever released. I have quite a few things, but this one definitely stands out for me because it's right in my alley of like strong emotional connection type of magic, which I really, really love to perform. So, so it falls into that category. I'm trying to think like who should I discourage from purchasing this? I say I'm discouraged. If you're not going to practice, don't get it. If you're going to put in the practice time, get it, even though it's beginner level. You know, literally, you could watch the first 50 minutes and go out and start performing. It does occur to me, like I'm trying to think, like what are the things that people might not like, or like if I was on the other side of this camera, what would I be asking? Like, how easy is it to read the marking system? I personally found it way easy, and I'm not exaggerating that without actually going through the tutorial, I was able to, um, I'd say close to 90% figure out the marking system, easy to read. You don't have to be wearing glasses to see the marking system, easy to read from a distance in any sort of typical performing distance and close up. Type of an environment. So extremely easy to read. But for some, I would imagine, you know, it might take you 10 minutes to really get it down, but you'll get it relatively quickly. I think maybe another negative that some people would identify, and I don't know that it's a negative, it's just a limitation, and that currently they're only available in English. It would be great to have these in multiple languages across the planet because that I think that would be great. If you perform in other languages to be able to have that capability as well. And I think that's it. Those are sort of the two things that I would think like if I was on the other side and some of the questions that I might be asking. We should talk about the cost. This is where it's so ridiculous. This release is $39.95 in the United States. So in US dollars, basically $40, $39.95. And it's released through Murphy's Magic. It's unbelievable that you can get over 8 hours of tutorial at $40. That's just a great, great value. And the cards are awesome. I'm sure some people are saying like, well, why $40 just for a set of, you know, about 28 cards? They're good quality cards, and what you can do with them is kind of endless. It's like really purchasing an amazing tool to have at your fingertips. So I think it's a great value. I think that's all I have to say. It's clear I love this. I think it's one of the best releases of the year, and Craig has done an amazing job. If you purchased it, let me know down in the comments, and let me know what your thoughts. If you didn't like it, let me know because I think that would be helpful for other people in the comments to know why. What is it about this release that maybe you didn't like, or maybe is a shortcoming because maybe I'm biased and had rose-colored glasses on this one, but I really liked it. Also, make sure you hit that like button. and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And thank you for everyone who does. I really, really, really do appreciate it. All right, that's it. I'm FiddlinJonny. And remember to keep fiddling around with your magic. I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.